Up next on the block is a special treat here. We've got 9 cards, all from Star Wars, all from 1977, all vintage, all tops, all great. Here we go. I'm going to first give you the size markers so you can see these are your standard average collectible trading card size. No surprises there. We're going to jump right into it. So ordinarily, in the catalog over at TheBigToyAuction.com, you can see exactly a photo that looks something like this. You can see the flat version of this, but if there are any tiny imperfections or flaws, you're not going to be able to see them in that. So I want you to be able to see them. If they exist, let's go look for them now. And the first thing I'm going to do is do our little wiggle jiggle. Here, we're going to let the light jump off of every nook and cranny, every surface, every possibility to show and highlight any imperfections, flaws, blemishes, damage, etc. No creases, no pinholes, nothing like that. I'm not seeing any of that on here. And to point out, this is number 53, Battle in Outer Space, 2 of your iconic ships right there. But to point out, one of the things that we've noticed in this series, that when it's heavily inked like this, when it is very, very dark, sometimes you get just this little bit of wavy modeling from oversaturation from the ink. We're not even seeing a ton of that on this. Seen on some other cards, but it really highlights things and lets you know if there's anything like that. I'm not seeing it. I want you to pay special attention to these 4 corners. Those are usually the first places where they get damaged. Now, one is a little tiny bit. Let's zoom in on it and see slightest of bends beginning on there. This one, still a pretty sharp, tight point. The other 2 also looking sharp, nice. Maybe a little bit of something right there. Can you see that? Just beginning to bend a little bit. So it looks like at some point over the past 40 years, wow, banged up against a wall or 2. So that's why we like to show this to you, so you are aware, so you know, so you have all the information you need to make the decision as to whether or not to purchase this, whether this belongs in your collection. It belongs in a lot of folks' collections. Maybe if you are, for whatever reason, don't collect a certain thing now. To show you the back as well, and that's how we're going to leave it here. Back showing so you can observe it, see it, and know it for the rest of video. A lot of these have artwork on the back that kind of made a puzzle piece. Some were photos, some were paintings. Others have facts, movie synopses, etc. But here is Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker, number 57. Kind of an iconic one right here. A little bit of, probably a wipe off. A little bit of schmutz. Care of it. Otherwise, the light is showing everything. And it's not part of the artwork. Raised. It's it. You can tell. No. Be aware of that, but the 4 corners, great. Nice. And it's Mark Hamill, the studio shot for the posters, for the etc. We'll show the back of that. Then the lightsaber. Interesting. Spelling, interesting. Breakdown, word. Just interesting all around. Remember that these came out in conjunction with the movie as part of an advertising rush, probably put together by Cott, if I guess. Really kind of the mastermind of the marketing plan. What's right there? Turn this from just your regular B science fiction into something, well, into what it is today. At that time, the folks at Topps would not have known much about the movie, work, or what's happening, and they would have taken whatever notes they had. You'll notice that in some of the spellings of certain things. The fact that one of them refers to a Star War rather than Star Wars as a whole. Things like that lightsaber. Interesting all around. Still problems on this one. This is on in refuse room. Flip that over and we see some movie facts. The Tusken Raiders. A pretty highly collectible one right here. Folks really like this one to complete their collection. Or just to have as a standalone. Pretty neat. 21. Number 50. Rebel leaders worry about their fate. You got near the end there, if you remember in the movie. Getting ready for that final run. Now, I do want to point out there is some schmutz right here. You can see the way it interacts with the light. A lot of times what that is in these, and you can see how it's kind of narrowly banded. It's kind of in a rectangular form. What we believe that to be is these were sold X packs. That's some gum. Get the old pack of gum. I don't think they do that much anymore. I don't get gum in your pack when you get baseball card. But back in the day, that was pretty standard. And over the past 40 years, I have no idea when this pack opened. Could have been 2 years ago. Could have been last month. Could have been right before our consignor gave it to us. Maybe he opened it up, took the ones that he wanted. I don't know. Or it could have been 40 years ago. Now, however long that was sitting there rubbing, and you can feel it does have a little bit of a grittiness to it. Now, we can certainly wipe that for you. Some people really like that. Love the fact that, man, that's something from 40 years ago. Relive moment of opening itself. We give you the option. If you like it, keep it. If you don't, wipe it. All right, so all four corners looking pretty nice. And that art in the back. Han of the Millennium Falcon. Right there. Going down there now. Artwork doesn't appear to be on the card, so I'm going to artwork. Now, real question is it in the movie or was it in the reproduction of the art for these cards? Yeah. No, I guess we frame by frame. This card is looking pretty good. Corners, I'm going to point out a very slight bending on that corner. When zoomed in, you may not be able to see. I'd like to be able to show you that. Light reflects slightly. Of course, I do want to point out, when my fingers are against it, it creates a shadow. It looks like bent. Boom. Well, we'll flip it over there as we go to Grand Moff Tarkin, Peter Cushing himself. Nice and dark card, which really lets things, blemishes on there, know about them. And it doesn't. It does, however, look like it's a slight miss cut on that. I don't know. Does that give it more value? Does it give it less value? See how it should be over and down a little bit more? That's a manufacturer's error. It's been like that for 40 years. Does that make it better or worse? I don't know. That's up to you and how you collect and what you like. Is it a card? Is it harder to find? Easier to find? You let me know. There, and finally, the droids in the control room. This is 33. Very nice. Well, four corners, good, right? Movie fact. I'm going to give you this for 1 minute. You can also check these photos out just like this over at the Big Toy. I'm in catalog, but I'm going to flip them back over so you can see them one more time as we say farewell to these cards. Now, one of you is going to have an opportunity to not have to say farewell. It's going to go into your collection. All 9 of these are going to go in one lot. One money, one price, one place to get it, one way to do it. Leaving your bids at the TheBigToyAuction.com. You can do that right now. Head on over, leave your pre-bids, and then join us live on auction day. Sure. Looking for just 1 or 2 to complete a collection, whether you're getting starting off with 9 just to start a collection, either way. You're going to be real happy. You're going to be glad you did. Forward to seeing you at the auction.